Hi, I'm Leslie Smith. I am the managing broker and owner of Property Quest Realty. I'm a broker here in New Orleans, Louisiana. And I wanted to do this series to kind of give you a real world behind the scenes peek into what actually is the real estate industry about. I know sometimes we look at the cute things that we see on social media and the people dressed all pretty and doing these fun things in real estate. But real estate is a full industry. And I really wanted to do this to educate, maybe to even inspire people who wanted to get into the real estate industry, but also more importantly, to be able to talk to people who are just at that cusp of doing something different and new in their lives. And I'm hoping that this can inspire. I got into real estate not really because I hated my job. I mean, I've always had really good jobs, really great people that I work with. I think what made me get into real estate is life really just kind of showed me how short life can be. John and I have been doing real estate for years. We have been owning rental property and just, kind of saying, okay, that's going to be retirement. And my sister passed away. My sister Cheryl, she had just retired from American Airlines, and she retired in like July. By November, she found out she had pancreatic cancer. Less than a year later, she passed away. And we had all of these plans. Remember, she had retired from the airline, so she had all of these great benefits that she could fly. She could have a buddy fly with her for free. So I was going to be her buddy. We were going to go to all these different places. And, so when she died, I just realized how short life really is. That was the first person that was that close to me who passed away, who wasn't, like I said, she was in her early 60s. So that wasn't old to me. So John had always talked to me about, leaving my job and really helping, manage the properties and helping build that. And I just was totally against that. I'm like, no, I don't think we could even work together. But when she passed away, I said, am I going to let life just really pass me by and never just step out and do something different and something outside of the norm? So I went back to John and I'm like, is that offer still on the table? I really just started to build what we already had, but just see a different vision for it. Not see it just as this is something for our retirement, but this is something that we could actually build and grow and make into something different. Once again, it wasn't because I was just so unhappy in my job. I just saw that I had more to give in life, and I just had to bet on myself finally, and not just survive and continue with a 9-to-5 job, but to just really try it out and see what I had inside of me, and if I could take something that John had already created, this real estate, this investment property, and take it to another level. From that, I started to work on creating Airbnbs from some of the rental properties. So as people would leave properties, I would go in, renovate them, do Airbnbs. All of that was going really well. Then that turned into, if I could do that for, one side of a double, we could flip a house. So I started doing all those different things. And of course, I went to real estate school, went through that, got the real estate license, still thinking my focus was just going to be on the properties that we currently owned. And once again, I just kind of still pushed the lever a little bit more and worked on us building a foundation for ourselves in the future, and not just looking at this as money for retirement, but this is money for now as well. That's really how I got started in it, by betting on myself, by believing in myself. But it was just that realization that you are not promised tomorrow. You have to really just get out and start living life. I don't think there was one moment that made me realize that I was, a leader. It was just the journey. Looking back, someone always believed in me. I mean, I can think back as far as being in high school and being chosen as the captain of the dance team. I didn't know anything about that, but someone always saw something in me and put me in these positions. So I learned a little bit from that experience. I mean, I actually failed in that experience and was no longer the captain of the dance team because I was given the opportunity. I didn't totally embrace it, and I lost it. Then, as I went through college, my very first job, I was working for Bell South, which is now AT&T. And T. And within a year, I was promoted to be a supervisor. Well, I didn't know anything about supervising. I was like 24 years old, but I was really given these tools. But I remember I had a boss who was just like, you can do this. And she taught me. So I've never been one of those people that believe that leaders are born. I think that they are created. And I think you're created because you're putting yourself in these positions. And to me, leadership is really about seeing something in others and developing a team. I mean, you can't lead by yourself. I mean, I don't know what that's called, but you don't lead when you're alone. You lead when you are part of a group and you see the best in others and you know what your strengths are. You also know what your weaknesses are. So you get people that surround you that can make your strengths shine and also take those weaknesses and they're filling in the gaps. Leadership was not something that there was a one moment that I said, oh, this is it, I'm a leader. It's just been a journey. And when I look back, I see that I've been preparing for this moment right here all of my life. Really looking back on my journey, I mean, I see a pattern. I see that the times that I was the best in leadership is really when I took risks. You know, I used to have a clothing store and it was before its time, but just developing that clothing store from absolutely nothing. Um, Going through everything that I went through just taught me how to prepare for business. So even if something didn't work out the way I thought it would work out, it still prepared me for this. And one thing about me being a leader, um, I love people. You know, when people say I'm a people person, I can really tell you, I love to see the best in people. I love to help them see the best in themselves. You know, I am a nurturer. I am a caregiver. I have, you know, I've led my family to where they are today. I have two very successful children. We have a successful business. And it was because I believed in myself even when I didn't know it. I didn't wake up every day saying, oh, I believe in myself, I'm a leader. But when you look back and you look at your journey, you see that you've built things from the ground up, a family, a business, a life, a career, a marriage. That takes leadership, and leadership to me starts with taking risk, being vulnerable, and being honest, and being able to see the greatness that's really within you and working towards bringing that out. My proudest moment, once again, I really don't think of my life in moments. I think about the journey. So my proudest moment will be right now because I can look back and I can say, wow, that girl didn't believe in herself. Wow, that girl thought she was not smart, not pretty, that she was overweight. She thought all of that stuff, and she still kept on going. She still kept on getting up every morning and continuing with the hustle. That girl thought that she didn't know what to do with children when she found out that was going to have children. She didn't know how to raise children. Well, look at them now. My proudest moment is the moment that you take a minute and you look back and you see where you were and you see where you are now, and you see that, number one, you're still standing, but you're still standing greatly. I think one of the things that's kind of been my driving force is I don't bet on a horse, I bet on a jockey, and I'm the jockey. I'm the person that got me to where I am. Definitely, I've had help with me, but when you have to stop and look in the mirror and say, this is you, these are your strengths, these are your weaknesses, but you still got to keep up and you still got to keep going. When I can stand up and look back at the person who didn't always see the best in me and realize I kept on going, I would have to say every day that I wake up is the proudest moment when I look back at where I've gone through and I look at where I am now. I think once again, one of my hardest moments is not just a one moment. It's things that happen that just kind of makes me step back and say, whoa, I didn't see that coming. For example, we closed on a house on Wednesday, and what's today? Saturday, the hot water heater burst. You know, that was a hard moment to wake up and see that text that 500 miles away, I have a hot water heater that has burst and, messed up the ceiling of two of the apartments. So hard moments, I always have to remember they're short-lived. They're short-lived. So you just have to keep on stepping over that and keep on pushing the boundaries. So there is, to me, hard moments there's no one hard moment. Being an entrepreneur, even being in real estate, it is not always the beautiful things you always see on social media. It's some tough times. I mean, I always say entrepreneurship is not for everybody. I'm gonna be honest, home ownership is not for everybody. But definitely owning a business and mixing that with real estate, that's not for everyone. You really have to have a level of endurance. You have to have like a strong, spiritual beliefs system that just makes you know that everything is going to work out, because you do have this proof, the fact that you're here today, that the things of yesterday has worked itself out. So once again, hard moments, it's always going to happen. No, I didn't wake up thinking 3 days after I closed on a house that I was going to have a major issue, but here we are. But I've had other issues that I've been able to overcome in this industry and just in life, that just proves to me that it's really all going to work out. But it's not for everybody. It's not everything that you see on television and social media. It's not that at all. There's some tough times, but if you have endurance and you believe in yourself and you have a good system around you and people that can support you, from whether it's a business partner or a good property manager or a good contractor, whatever it is, if you have them with you together, they're going to make that moment easier. But hard moments, they're going to happen. Now that I think about it, the things that really keep me in real estate, you have what got you started and what's your exit plan. But what keeps me really in it is understanding what it's really doing for me, what it's doing for our family, what it's doing for our legacy. John and I have always worked, full-time jobs. John still works for a company full-time in addition to working Property Quest full-time. But I think what keeps us in it is knowing the financial freedom that it's giving us now, what it's given us in the past, and also what it's going to give us in the future. The job that he has, that pays the bills. That makes sure that our own house note is paid for. That makes sure we have food. That makes sure we can take a vacation or two. But what real estate has done is given us that leverage. We were able to send both of our children to college without them going into student debt. And that was really a big deal for both of us. Probably especially me. He was on a scholarship and I wasn't, so I had a lot of financial debt. Knowing that we were able to give that gift to our children who really deserved it. Both of our children worked very hard in high school. They worked equally as hard in college. So, it's definitely paid back. But knowing that we were able to do that for them, but even going forward, being able to know that when we are no longer able to work, and I didn't say if, because it's always going to be a when, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's another 20 years, however long we decide to work full time, that we have other revenue streams that are coming in besides just a pension, Social Security, things like that. So to me, what real estate has done and why I'm still in it is because the financial freedom that it has given us, and that it's going to give our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren who don't even exist yet. That's really why I stay in it, because I know what it does for me, how it's building wealth for me, and how it's building wealth for many people in this country. That's how I stay in it. So that's my story. I hope that you enjoyed it. I have lots more to share, so I'd love for you to come back and check out my next episode.